You've heard funny stories about my mom, my dad, and my brother. Now, it's time to hear some funny stories about my granny, because she also deserves a video too. Enough chit-chat, let's get into it. Let's start with one of my earliest memories of Granny, which is the time when I was little. Every time we would back up on her driveway, she would go to the window and start making faces at me. And I didn't like it, it did creep me out. She stopped doing it at one point. I don't know why. I assume she knew I didn't like it, but Mom didn't know, so I don't actually know why she stopped. Another story I like to tell is that at one point, she had surgery on her leg, so she had a hard time walking. So me, my brother, and my dad came to help her out, and she did not like it. She was extremely stubborn with us, helping her out on things. She felt like she had to cook for us. She hated when we ate PB&J, feeling like it's her fault that we're not getting good meals for lunch when we're used to eating PB&J. There was a time I asked if she needed help with something. She said she's fine, and I asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes!" Okay. A few months later, she had to get surgery on her other foot, so we had to come back to her house, but instead of Dad, it was Mom that took us there. Dad did warn Mom about how stubborn Granny is, and I believe Mom thought he was over-exaggerating, and then Mom found out that Dad was right. Granny was just the same way as she was last time. I remember there were times when Mom would ask her how or where she wants something, and Granny responds with, "I don't care," in a very annoyed tone. The thing is, Granny just doesn't want to feel like she's a burden. And she doesn't want us to feel like she needs a lot of help sometimes. She's too much of a sweetheart to ask for help. Another story I want to tell is a memory Granny always treasures and has told me multiple times. When I was 3, I met Granny at the airport, being excited to see her while clapping my hands, and a guy came up to her and said, "He's really excited to see you," and she responds, "No, he's excited what's in my suitcase." The thing that she's referring to is the N64 that she had. Granny would always bring it to our house when she came to visit. At one point she left it there because there really wasn't a point for her to keep it, since the only people who played it was me and my uncle. And if I remember correctly, my uncle moved out at the time, so I own it now. I still have it, and it still works, except the control sticks on them are messed up. Good thing I have Mario 64 on the Wii U. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's get back to Granny. Another thing I remember is that my mom said that I should thank her for doing things, and when I first said thank you to her, she replied, "Okay," which was weird to me since I'm used to hearing people say "you're welcome." But the thing is, Granny wasn't used to people saying thank you to her. That wasn't programmed into her brain to say "you're welcome." So I pushed her into saying that. Every time she responded okay, I would say, "No, it's "you're welcome." And I kept saying that until she got her mind to say "you're welcome." I also would throw a pillow at her when she would snore while snoozing on the sofa. I can't remember if it was my idea or her making a joke about it that I took it seriously. Man, I was pretty mean to Granny when I was young. I definitely did not deserve to be spoiled. Except I was definitely the better child than my brother. I mean, I think my family can all agree on that. Before I get into this last story, I have to give a little bit of context for the late 2000 kids that are probably watching. Video game merch wasn't a thing in my time, and that wouldn't be a problem except I was artistically obsessed with Mario as a kid. And there were hardly any merchandise from Mario anywhere. I remember getting excited to see a Mario t-shirt in a little random store in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Because of this, Granny would find some Mario merch she could find, and she would sew them on a red cap, and I would wear them all the time. While we're on this topic, I also would like to talk a little bit about my other grandma, Meemaw. Meemaw loved going to yard sales, and she saw a Mario plushie at a yard sale. She was excited to see it, since again, Mario merch was very hard to find. One thing I loved about that plushie is that you can press on his hand and has a voice box that says, "It's me, Mario." I guess now talking about Meemaw, I'm going to talk about something sad. You see, Meemaw had dementia and was living with us until she died. A few days before her death, Granny came to visit, and when she realized that Meemaw looked like she wasn't going to live for very long, she told Mom she will stay as long as she needed her, and she did a lot of work around the house and even checked up on Meemaw sometimes. I remember hearing Mom in the other room bawling her eyes out that her mom is gone, and Granny crying with her and comforting her for this really sad moment. Mom was very thankful that she had Granny to help her with the whole thing. She really needed someone like Granny to be there for her. Granny is one of the sweetest people I know, and she deserves all the love in the world. She's a great cook, great with Christmas decorations, and knows how to spoil her grandkids. I'm very lucky to have a grandma like her. Granny, I hope you have a fantastic Mother's Day. That's it for this video. Signing out. Happy Mother's Day!